Hey guys, Fen here, starting with the very first vlog of this channel. And I'm here not necessarily by myself, but I've got somebody else here as well.
Hey guys, Terry Candlestick coming at you with this blog.
Yeah, so we got together and we kind of figured that we would try to give you guys something to watch, something to actually hear our voices, see our faces. I mean, you have me with my beard and my balding, and you have, well, short hair, and you have him with his
Whatever the
other
hell
short
this is.
Yeah, whatever that is.
And the goatee. And you can't see this impression.
So today we're going to be talking about four major things. We're going to talk about our goals with our channels. Well, I shouldn't do that because in the Middle East, like that is offensive.
Yeah.
So
And science are back.
we'll do. Okay. So one is.
You little shit.
So our first channel goal will be. Yeah, our first one is channel goals. Our second one is our history of gaming. Our third one is our thoughts on game design and what we think about it. And then fourthly, we'll talk about our favorite genres. And yes, may the peace live long and prosper. So, with Fennec Sublimations, I'll just start because I was already talking. Fennec Sublimations, basically, the channel goal is going to be to create a writing channel where you can come and basically see my thoughts on writing. I am currently trying to get published and write novels, but get entry level publishing is really difficult. So until I find things to really talk about, I'm instead going to be talking about various other things. I'm gonna push this down slightly and slightly more. This is so unprofessional. It's like, Finn, why didn't you do all that crap before you started?
Because I'm a fox.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to do lots of Let's Plays and stuff like that, mostly for my own entertainment. I don't want to be like DSP or any of the other channels that more or less say, oh, what's the thing that's coming out next? Drop $60 on it, and then make sure that I get views. Because how I view it is, if somebody finds my channel and they like my stuff, they will just sort of watch all of my videos. Thanks.
And so my channel, it's going to be kind of a cluster of a lot of stuff. While I'm gearing up to go to college, well, graduate school rather, I really just want to have a little hobby, a little something to just entertain myself and do that. And I also want to put out this idea that video games can be educational or inspirational, because for me, I was really inspired by Pokemon, and that's what kind of started it all. It wasn't exactly the one that started the idea of promoting that idea, but it's one that really influenced me and inspired me. The one that really started the idea of me putting that out and using video games as kind of a learning tool was War of the Tanks, when I found that all these tanks were actually real. I actually already knew that they were real, but I saw in War of Tanks there was all this history, and I became inspired to read more about history and look up how accurate these tanks and their specifications and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. And then, apart from promoting that idea, it's just Let's Plays just for fun, and maybe put up some art and my writing, since I have always loved writing. So maybe do some original work instead of just fan fictions.
Yeah, I even pressured him into starting his YouTube channel. I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. You should start one with me."
I've been thinking about it, but I'm a huge procrastinator, and usually I'll start something and then stop, and then pick it up like a lot later on. So yeah, his pushing and prodding and smacking was yeah.
Man, if only I could finish the things I.
Thanks for watching.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah. I graduated with my BA and said, man, I want to do something. I'm bored. All right, so that's more or less our channel goals. There's going to be a bit more. The Fennec Sublimations channel is going to have a blog. It's already made. There's just nothing on it. So yeah, I'm going to be putting a lot of thoughts there as well instead of just making nothing but vlogs. Um, so yeah. So we have the other 3 points we have here is our next point at least is our history with gaming.
Also on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've basically been one of those kind of gamers that gets onto a certain kind of game they like and like a certain genre, a certain title, and just stays on that, replaying it constantly. And my drug of choice for games was always Pokemon. You'd find me just trying to train every single one of them in every single game. I'd have multiple Game Boys. I'd just trade back and forth because I'm pretty antisocial most of the time. And so that was like what I would do for most of my time was just play Pokemon. And every now and then I'd branch out. Like another game I've played. Well, I shouldn't just go down the list, but it's very few. So
Yeah, we'll be here for a while if you go down the list.
yeah. So like, and when I say get in a rut, it's like I play one game exclusively, and then I stop playing that and pick up a new game and start playing that exclusively. So I play like World of Warcraft all day long, or probably not all day long, but for long periods of time, that would be the only game I play. Then I drop that and pick up Pokemon, just play Pokemon games for a long time, and then drop those and then play something else. So I actually have a very few number of games I've actually played through. Like my library and list of games that I've actually played is just small. I believe compared to like other people who play like lots of games. So that's mine. So really just stuck in a rut and don't really pay much attention to the game design or anything. I just kind of just like this is fun. I enjoy doing this. Waste my time and that's it. Your turn.
All right. So my history of games is pretty long, actually. My parents always told me that when I was a kid playing Atari for the very first time, I was like, "What does this word say? What does that word say?" And they'd go, "Well, that means options, and that means easy, medium, and hard. So they'll be easy, medium, really hard." And so I'd figure out what these words mean, and so gaming in this ways helped me sort of read. And then when I was in my, geez, was it like early teens? I think Baldur's Gate and all that was out. That required a lot of reading, so I just got really good at reading because I played games that required a lot of reading, and yeah, it was fun. Learned how to type really fast while playing Diablo 2. I'm old, and running away from monsters while typing to somebody. Yes, do this, blah 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 blah, with one hand was really exciting. But my history of games goes a little bit further than that. I started playing games way back in the day. We had a Nintendo, we had a Sega, um, so we had all kinds of stuff. And for the most part, we had tons of fun. I always liked the, like, sort of thinking about the games. Initially, I just liked playing them. But after a while, I started thinking, I wish I could do this for a living. And then I realized how bad the gaming industry is. And I said, yeah, no, I'm good. For those of you who are not informed, the gaming industry is brutal. Um, yeah, you will hear horror stories. Like if you ever try to get into the gaming industry, you will more or less be told, "Hey, dude, don't plan on doing this for your entire life," because the average time of people in the gaming industry is something like 5 years, and then they quit.
Oh wow, is that intense?
Yeah, it that's either they leave mainstream gaming and start an indie company, or they just leave gaming altogether to go somewhere else.
Dang, like I when I finished God of War, like I watched this video they had on their CD about how intense and the deadlines, how intense the game making is, what deadlines they had to attend to, and just how serious they take all the small details, which truthfully, the seriousness of which the degree of seriousness in which they took every little detail made an outstanding game. Even if you have played it, it's been like just fantastic. But I never realized it was like that stressful. Like people just be like, okay, 5 years, I'm done. Because it's something you work at. It's not something. It's like you.
It's more the working conditions. It's not that gaming industry itself is hard. It's that the working conditions, the amount of stress you get on, you're under, just to be able to be there and do the job. And there are companies who will put everybody on salary. I remember hearing a debacle a long time ago about EA basically refusing to pay their employees overtime because they were technically salaried or something. But they were putting in like 60, 70, 80 hours a week to just to meet deadlines. It was ludicrous. I believe there was a class action lawsuit or something. I don't remember, but it was a big fiasco. And yeah, if you talk to people who worked at EA, who worked at Activision, they tell you it's pretty bad in a lot of ways. Uh, yeah, whatever. It's just the whole thing. You get there, you get over like the whole idealistic, shiny bits where you think this is great, and then you more or less just realize how bad something is.
It's just at some point the honeymoon ends.
Yeah, at some point the honeymoon ends.
The rose tinted glasses come off.
Yeah, and
But they're shattered while still on your face.
yeah, and you realize that after your marriage to EA and your job, you come to the realization that you're really just stuck wearing a chastity belt colored to a wall or something.
Oh, this lady, she seems so nice, but I got her home after the marriage certificate. She became a bitch.
She was really mean, actually. She was like, "Hey, you're wearing this now," and it's like, "Wait, what? Whoa, 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 whoa!" No, but yeah. So my history of gaming is we had lots of stuff with the NES, lots of stuff with the Sega. There's Sega 32, all this good stuff. But really, my gaming experience took off when I hit PC because I left console and went to PC, and consoles became sort of like a fighting game sort of thing. It's more for fighting games, was my perspective, and PC's better for nearly everything else. And so, I mean, you have a keyboard. You can bind everything to something. You have a mouse which gives you precision aiming and all that good stuff. So, yeah, so for a while I just had this stint of like 5, 6 years where I refused to play games on consoles, especially first-person shooters. I don't understand why people play first-person shooters on consoles.
It's hard. Like I remember Call of Duty Big Red 1, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
and that was for PlayStation 2. And holy shit! After coming from Call of Duty on the PC, that was a huge challenge for me because it was like aiming was. Oh, okay, stop. And you're done.
Yeah, so things tended to get rather difficult there. When I found, however, there is one game that revived consoles for me, and that was Dark Souls. Because I bought Dark Souls and Demon Souls at the exact same time. I played Dark Souls first because I didn't know anything about Dark Souls or Demon Souls, and I heard it was better. Then I played Demon Souls after that, finished that, and thought, wow, these are both amazing. Demon Souls is harder because there's no poise in Demon Souls, so when you get hit, you flinch regardless. In Dark Souls, there's this thing called poise, which means when you get hit, you can ignore the flinch animation if the weapon's poise damage doesn't overcome your poise. And then the Dark Souls 2 I thought was terrible, but it was okay, but its meta game is terrible compared to Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 3 should be amazing, but we're getting out of history at that point. I played MMOs for an extended period of time and basically lost like what 5 years to EverQuest 1.
Oh,
and
yeah,
another
yeah,
like
yeah.
5 years to World of Warcraft or something.
And for me, the time that I lost on EverQuest, it just keeps getting longer because it's one of those classic games that you just like. I'm feeling nostalgia for EverQuest, and you go find it because now it's free, and then you also have all these different private servers for it now. I won't name any, but and some of them have some of those private servers have kept away from all the updates that Sony now Daybreak
Mm-hmm. Daybreak.
has implemented. Which honestly, I did play the Daybreak EverQuest one. I don't like how they've put everything. I don't know if you've played it. What they did is they came up with this new race called the Draken, which was supposed to be like basically half dragons,
Mm-hmm.
and they crammed every race to start in that area. So now I don't know what they're gonna plan. I don't know what they're planning on doing with the rest of Norath and Lucilin, but right now, if you go to those old zones, those old cities, Grob, what's all the other ones I forget, Hollis, Freeport,
Mm-hmm.
which they completely did a completely new take. They completely redid Freeport. Any of those, none of the quests really work. The quests do not work. Like you go out and you try to, like I remember trying to get chamois gear, like the old newbie chamois gear on, Grob, and it just, I couldn't find the monsters. There were some monsters that they just taken out. Now there are some, like I did a rogue, I did Freeport Rogue, and I went out and started doing that, and I did get most of the gear for it and actually made most of the armor, but then I got to a point where it's like I'm trying to get the dagger, and it should work for me, but the quest started being broken or I was doing something wrong. But that's kind of the point where I was like, well, actually no, I didn't quit from that. I quit from my computer having these little mini lag spikes, and it just became not fun. Plus I was like, can anyone tell me what this is? You're a noob. Oh, fuck you guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now it's just trolls on some servers. So.
Yeah, if you run into a game and like the admins are policing it in any way, you just get a bunch of jerks on there, and it's just how it goes.
It's also, that's also a good reason why the private servers were so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember SOD.
Shards of Dahlia.
Shards of Dahlia was good. I mean, it was also fun that there was. It's one of those. That was one of those private ones where they had the. You had to type in this sentence to make sure you agreed to the terms of service.
Oh yeah.
Terms of use. And so people would type in, "Can anyone read this?" And anyone would be like, "Nope, can't read it."
And then people would think they're serious. They'd be like, "Oh, damn!"
So like dozens of people just said, "No, I can't read this," and used my name, and I'm still too stupid to figure it out.
My favorite is on voice chat. Whenever a game is voice chat, can you guys hear me? No, no, we can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you.
Oh, dude, there's so many times when someone at work is doing that on the radio, you got the headset and everything. Testing. Can anyone hear this? No, we can't hear you, Gary. And he's just like, you can see him on the other side of the store, like getting mad at, like pulling out, like Gary, we can hear you. It's already off. I'm just like, someone go tell Gary we can hear him.
You get on the intercom, Gary, you're an idiot. We can hear you.
I know on the intercom, Gary, we can Gary, we can hear you. It's like God's talking.
So yeah, that's more or less my history of gaming. I played EverQuest 2 for a while. Now we're playing Terra. I always remember that nobody likes to play tanks or healers, so he's playing a healer, I'm playing the tank.
I've always been a healer. Yeah. Like, whenever I went out, whenever we did play EverQuest, I never played EverQuest 2. Like, I think I did start a little bit, but whenever I played EverQuest 1 and whenever I played World of Warcraft, it was always on the healer. That's like my spot. I don't know why.
You're like the second most important person there. The first most important is the tank, which is also the hardest to get.
Yeah, become a good tank.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, like if we both played Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role playing stuff extensively. I'm more extensive than him, but
yeah, he's much more experienced. He's a DM. I tried DMing, but I was just like, oh, sad.
His problem was that he was a noob DM and didn't know what he was doing and playing with experienced DMs. And the problem with experienced DMs is that they either say, okay, I don't care what happens in this game, and they make like a joke character, or they make characters that they care about, and
it's so damn complex that a new GM is like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Or
maybe I should have put more restrictions on character creation.
Or when like the noob DM is just like, okay, this thing happens, and it's just like an encounter that is just more or less instant death. They're like, what are you doing?
Oh, also I made those named, like where or like dire
Oh
boards,
yes, I remember those.
and
So he's really good at 4.0 because 4.0 is nice and fairly balanced for combat. 5.0
it's
is
simple.
better. Like,
Well, actually, no. Actually, I guess that's a good point you made. Like when it was when I made this dire campaign,
yeah, that worked.
it worked really good. Like
Yeah,
it did work really good.
yeah, we had lots of jokes because it was a lot of dire stuff.
You could say this is a dire situation.
Yeah, so it was really silly. We had this guy named Peter, who was really fun. I won't say his last name, but because if he sees this, he might be angry at us.
Griffin.
Yeah, Peter Griffin. That's right.
Not Peter.
He has a
Don't
huge,
sue us.
he has a huge beard now, and it works at I forget what he does. Yeah, he works at S Mart.
Shop smart. Shop
That's
S smart.
Yeah, this is my bonus circle. So, and we he did all kinds of silly things. Pathfinder was a bit complex because there's lots of ways to kill your players in Pathfinder, really easily. So he would occasionally stumble onto those, and people would get pissed.
Oh yeah, like all the sturges.
Oh yeah, all the
Oh
sturges.
yeah, it's just a swarm of giant mosquitoes.
Basically, it's just a swarm of sturges.
And
What
it's
is your defense to this? Nothing. Die. That's your defense.
And you're like, fuck this,
Like,
teleport.
fuck this, dude. It's just like, what? So they all hit. So if you guys don't know how sturges work, basically on touch, which is a much lower defense,
Oh yeah.
they more or less auto grapple, and then they do constitution damage, which like 1d4 constitution damage. So you take a 4-sided dice and you roll it, and he had like 6 of them.
Yeah.
It was basically, all right, let's find one person dead 1 round, next person dead in 1 round.
The idea was supposed to be kind of like that, only they deal physical damage, not like actual HP damage, not
yeah, he didn't know
constitution.
what constitution damage did when he built it.
I think I did. I just overlooked that fact. I
Yeah.
glossed over it. So it's just like,
It was like, oh hey, oh, this is a lot more dangerous than I thought it was supposed to be. Shit. Damn it. Fuck. It's like, damn it, this feels like an encounter that is intentionally supposed to kill at
Let's
least
see.
someone.
This is supposed to kill like a dragon. Like a bunch of dragons will go into breath, they're on it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, they're immune to your breath. Damn it!
But yeah, we had tons of fun just screwing around. I played Pathfinder in college. We got through some of Kingmaker, so that was fun. Had some good groups there, but that's pretty much our combined history of gaming, if you will. I went a little bit in the game design and then pulled out because I didn't want to work in the gaming industry as I found it, because it's more or less working with, I wouldn't call them Nazis. It's working with people who just don't care. The only thing they really want to do is get their money. It's a business. I get it. If you start a business, you don't start a business for charity. You start a business to make money. But most of the gaming industry businesses that I found, I mean, there's some like Riot that are really good, but most of them are just so big. If you're working behind a computer on the game itself, like, you are infinitely replaceable, and they realize it. Because for every person who gets into the gaming industry, right now there's like 20 or 40 or 100 waiting to take that person's position. So they have no problem working you into quitting and then replacing you.
So it'd be like all the people that make the code, like they're just instantly replaceable.
Yeah, because there's kids right out of college who want to take the coders' positions and get their job that pays 60, 80 grand a year. And there's kids right out of college or didn't even go to college who want to replace the artists' positions. And so everybody's infinitely replaceable. It's just how it works.
So you kind of got a I don't know if you want to go into this, but you kind of got a glimpse of how intensive that is when you're trying to do like an art degree, and it's just like there were just like tons of like small projects they were throwing on you. It became so encumbering that you were just like, I can't do this.
A little bit. I just researched the gaming industry, but just so you guys know, if you want to work in the arts, you'd better love the arts insanely. That's probably ingrammatical, but whatever. Basically, if you go to an art college, expect to have to take around 4 studio art classes, and expect for each studio art class to require about 18 hours a week of your time. So 4 times 18,
4 times 18. Let's do.
that's like
4 times
72 hours,
20.
I think.
Yeah, 72 hours.
So that's 72 hours out of a week that you need to be working.
Yeah, so
On
basically it's a part-time job on top of whatever you're doing.
Part time.
Wait, you said
72 hours a week.
72. Oh. That's salaried with, wait, yeah.
You're taking 4 of these. It's 72 hours a week. Now there's like what 120 hours in a week total. So there's 168 hours in a week. So let's take 24 and remove 8 from that. And then multiply that by 7. So there's 112 hours in a week if you want to get a healthy sleep cycle. And we'll just, subtract 72 from that. So you have about 40 hours in a week where you don't need to be working on this. That's including class time is in the 72 hours.
So your leisure time is a full-time job.
Yeah, your leisure time is almost non-existent. Some people can handle that. I just ended up starting to freak out because even when I was working at it actively, and I mean, if we divide 40 by 7, that's about 5 hours a day of leisure time. That isn't that bad if you're heavily scheduled, if you have everything taken care of.
And if you really, really love what you're doing,
Yeah.
then your work kind of is, can add to that 5 hours a day. But
Yeah.
most people are going to be like, I kind of want to do something else. Saying this is fun, but damn.
Yeah, for me it was just too stressful. So I just stopped being an art major and went back to English because I originally liked doing lots of writing. So
We both did.
yeah,
We still do.
yeah, exactly.
Because I'm more into fan fiction. I think you're getting into more original stuff.
Yeah, I like original stuff. Fan fiction is basically original stuff but with different things.
Yeah.
If you just replace character names and what they are, you can turn fan fiction into legitimate, fiction.
Harry Potter, more like Mary Potter.
No, there are novels like that. It's hilarious.
And oh yeah, it's the same thing. It's not Voldemort. It's Coldvort.
No, there's a few Harry Potter knockoffs that more or less follow a little boy named like Barry Potter or something, and literally take place in a castle with sorcerers, not wizards, sorcerers and warlocks.
They really wanted to copy it that hard.
Yeah, they did because okay,
I
Rowling
wanna
is a
publish-
billionaire right now.
I want to publish my fan fictions. I'll just change some names around and find replace, and then
Billionaire,
I don't doubt it. I mean, she made
billions.
seven books.
She was dirt poor when the first Harry Potter came out. She was destitute.
Yeah. Terrible, terrible life. One of the things I think propelled her to stardom and lavish living is just the fact that at some point she started writing from her pain.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what what are the things called, the wraiths that they used, like the ghosts of
Dementors.
Yeah, the Dementors. Saying that, I believe I read somewhere that the Dementors were basically based on like her hopelessness and hopelessness of her situation. So when she started like channeling that into the Dementors, that's some real deep dark shit right there.
Yeah, pretty much. Pain is one of there's two major things to draw from. There's pain you could draw from that, and then there is don't do that. Okay. This means nothing in almost every country. It can be said it's peace. This means fuck you in Britain, or like shove it up your ass or something.
Sorry, guys. I'll say fuck me. I'll say fuck me. That's basically.
Basically, it's just an insulting gesture in Britain. If we have any British people, just like, huh, they could be like, "What? Fuck you too, dude."
Goddamn Americans.
Damn Americans.
Do you remember that? My friend told me about that card that Someone from Britain sent his American friend for 4th of July.
No.
Happy Treason Day, cunts!
Happy Treason Day! Let's see. So, yeah.
My apologies to the British that are watching.
So, let's see. So the next topic we wanted to talk about was game design.
Which I know very little about.
Yeah, which I've actually studied quite a bit. So I like Valve's idea of game design to where if you look at any Valve game, they all follow a very distinct pattern. There's a long passage where you go on, and then there's a big arena to fight enemies in. And then this pretty much continues throughout the entire freaking game. But usually it's disguised in some way to make it so that the player doesn't notice. They just think it's a cool like montage of what's happening here, or just a cool environment. Because arenas can be huge and they can be small, but usually they lock you in some way, shape, or form. Like you have to jump down. You see this a lot in contemporary games. You see it a lot in games of the past. Games of the '90s did this a whole lot. Like if you played the original Unreal, you ran into a lot of situations where you couldn't really bottleneck enemies, or well, you could, but bottlenecking them was usually a really stupid idea because they had a lot more hit points than you did. So you needed to kill them quickly.
No, yeah, and there was really no way to lock it up. And it was like everything was an open door, so you'd find these large areas where people got together and fought, and then there were like these long corridors where you basically ran. It was almost a safe spot, but if you got cornered from this end and that end, like someone's chasing you, and then someone appeared and they pincered you, you're dead.
Oh yeah.
Unless you had like a flat can, you were really close to someone, and dead.
That's why everybody, when they were a kid, got really good with the sniper rifle. It's like, oh no, someone in front of me, goosh! And, oh yeah, and you turn around and shoot the other guy in the head, or they'd shoot you in the head with their sniper rifle, and you'd respawn. But yeah, you both fire, like you both duck at the same time. The person behind the guy gets shot in the head. It's like, all right, I'm gonna sneak up on this guy. I'm gonna sneak up on this guy. And then they're just like hacks. But yeah, with game design, I like to look at it and sort of ask myself, why did some of the developers develop this? Why did they think about it this way? And really, a lot of my game design comes in with tabletop because I like to tell stories, but I also like mechanically sound characters. I mean, if somebody is playing some sort of frontline fighter character, they're probably not going to have their specializations in making baskets. Which there's this thing called the what is it? The Stormwind something. Dilemma? No, it doesn't sound right. This principle? No. So the Stormwind something. Stormwind fallacy. That's what it was. And so there was this guy who went by something Stormwind, whatever his first name was, and he postulated that people who optimize their characters for a game are not role playing because they're playing optimized, mechanically superior characters.
So it's basically min-max are not really role playing; they're just playing a min-max character.
Yeah, that's what he suggested with his idea. The only problem with that is that if you talk to min-maxers, they say, well, I min-max the crap out of my character so I can just focus on RP and just hope that what I've put forth so far in the character keeps the character alive and makes it to where I can succeed at this roleplay. Like, that's really what's happening here. The Stormwind fallacy doesn't work. Lots of people on forums will argue it. Lots of people are just like, really? You think the Stormwind fallacy? But the Stormwind fallacy is a bunch of bollocks. When it comes to other game design, like more active game design, there's usually a lot of things like balance, lots of other things. It's usually not too bad.
And my experience with D&D with Sean, specifically when he min-maxed characters.
There was this guy named Sean, and we played Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 with him, so you have some context here. So by the way, guys, Pathfinder min-max is nothing compared to 3.5 min-max. Pathfinder min-maxing is you're powerful, but you're optimized to do something specific. 3.5 min max. Well, okay, in
You're a
Pathfinder,
god.
yeah, when you min maxed and built your character with all the best stuff you could find in Pathfinder, it wasn't that big of a deal. You were better than everybody else at doing the thing that you min maxed to do, but you weren't a god compared to them. If they all ganged up on you, they'd still win. This guy Sean, he had like he was that D&D nerd who had like all of the friggin' books, all the Dragon magazine. This was before like anybody really was looking at SRDs. So he would have everything, and he would make like some bullshit build that literally is better than everybody put together.
You know, but still, usually he would have a character that's interesting. Like I remember I think it was like a fighter that didn't have a sword or a mace or anything. He just had two sharpened shields and throw them.
Yeah,
Which that was kind of interesting to me. That was relatively new.
that was his novel character. That wasn't the character he wanted to play. That was the ensure the party doesn't die character. The character he wanted to play was that stupid monk god character, who basically was a cleric that was also a monk, and more or less get all the features of being a monk, so they could punch and do unarmed stuff. And basically, their main stat was supposed to be wisdom, which increased the difficulty to hit them. But he also maxed out their dexterity, which makes them even harder to hit. And then just went on to make it into a cleric build sort of thing. So then he could cast magic. And so for those who are uninformed, in 3.5 in Pathfinder, martial classes, so anybody who makes attack rolls to punch or hit or do damage with weapons, they sort of scale linearly, and spellcasters scale exponentially. So what this boiled down to was he didn't suck in the beginning because he could fight. And then later on, if we got later on, I don't think we did, he would get basically all the benefits of being a spellcaster too, of being a full spellcaster, not having to make any compromises. So he was just in general better than everybody else. And I mean, here was the thing: a lot of the people were using stuff out of the player's handbook, like the very basics, to make their characters. And he was making these characters out of things where, like, there was no out of books. He was making chimera characters out of, just a ton of different books, and that's fine. Except 3.5 and Wizards of the Coast gave no care to balance between books. It was either, I mean, if you made it to where everything was available, you could make a character that was literally better at tanking than your fighter, better at doing tons of damage than your rogue, better at being invincible against magic than your wizard, and able to heal themselves better than the cleric. You'd end up with this god character, and everybody would sort of just want to copy it. So it wasn't even about optimization. It was about, I'm able to get all this stuff, make this stupid character that's part of 12 different classes, and at a certain point becomes unkillable because either their damage output is so extreme that nobody can touch them and live. It basically boils down to, I have to kill this person that I can not hit on the first round, or they're just going to instant give me on the next round with their attack. So 3.5 died because of that. And in 4.0, they actually tried to make everything balanced. Like, if you played 4.0, Wizards of the Coast ran that for, 8 years? Less than that, 6 years?
Probably less than that.
Yeah, and then they jumped ship to 5.0.
Yes, because nobody really liked 4.0. Except for people yelling right now. The 4.0, we are agreed, 4.0 basically copied the MMOs way too much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's made what was supposed to be an interactive, constant experience, this long-term base. And you remember that one time I got put to sleep by some creature, and I was asleep for 20 rounds?
Yeah.
And and everyone gets to die, all right, let me try this. What the hell? And dude, what the hell? He's still asleep. It just never woke up.
Yeah, it was
and as soon as I wake up, back to sleep.
Yeah, it was
God damn it.
2 Lamia and a vampire or something. And basically everybody was crowd controlled to death. And the biggest problem with 4.0 is that everybody has so much freaking hit points, and everybody's so hard to hit that fights drag on
Too long.
forever. It was ludicrous how long these fights would take. And 5.0, they instead said, hey, let's make it to where everybody's relatively easy to hit, sort of, and just give them a lot of hit points. So if what you really need to worry about is, okay, I can fairly honestly say I'm probably going to hit reliably. So instead, what I'll do is focus on anything that deals more damage or makes me harder to kill. So yeah, that pretty much was what happened. Uh, so 5.0 is actually fairly good. You also don't need a map to play it. You can just do it all open role play on the stage, theater of the mind, or text. um, but yeah, 5.0 is much better than 4.0 in my opinion. Pathfinder has more rules than 5.0 right now, and it's better in some ways. But a lot of people are house ruling rules from 5.0 into Pathfinder in their home games, so they can just ignore certain things or just change things in general. The advantage system is usually fairly well liked. If you don't know what advantage is, basically, if you have advantage against a monster, you roll your whatever you're doing to it twice, and then take the higher result. If you have disadvantage against the monster, you roll your whatever twice, and then take the lower result. So it makes it to where there's a higher chance of success or failure.
I guess I should talk briefly about my experience with game design. The only thing that I guess what I should just take from Pokemon, which is basically you have this fantastic universe where you have the young main character you can relate to, and superimpose yourself on it, and then live through its adventures. Bam!
So vicarious.
Live vicariously through the character, yeah. Which I think, a lot of it actually makes sense.
Yeah, because it's not like Doom 3 where you more or less are the character. Oh man, those were the days. Like first person shooters, being hunched over my keyboard, like, yeah, bring on the next challenge. Like those are the good days. Yeah, and like a bunch of monsters spawn, and I'm like, bring it on, you pansies, and just shoot them all in the face with a shotgun. I'm gonna kill all of you. I'm gonna send you back to hell, and then come to hell and shoot you again.
Yeah, basically, basically Serious Sam right there.
Yeah, that's Serious Sam. That's Doom. That's all of those games. They're great.
Yeah, Duke Nukem.
Oh, Duke Nukem was hilarious.
Oh, Duke Nukem was too funny. Oh, there's all the voice clips and sound clips you got from Duke Nukem. Blow it out your ass.
All of these stolen phrases
used on ventriloquism harassment.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, Duke Nukem, all of his catchphrases that he uses, they're all stolen from movies in the 80s mostly.
Pretty much. He's a generic action hero.
Yeah, like he's only recognizable because he's like a chimera of all these movies, and other people don't. And a lot of the people who were experiencing him, if they were alive in the 80s, like actually coherent of what's going on.
Oh, it's Stallone.
Yeah, exactly. They would get these jokes and they'd laugh. They'd hear, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, but I'm all out of gum. And they think, oh, yeah, it's that one movie with that guy with the shotgun and the long hair about zombies. And they would think that's cool. But everybody in the 90s who didn't know those references just said, wow, Duke Nukem's really cool. Or, wow, Duke Nukem's really stupid. And nowadays, he's just really stupid.
Those first-person shooters and what you were talking about, like the long corridors and the arenas, they use that a lot in Duke Nukem, right?
Yes, especially the new one from Gearbox, which is just a clusterfuck. I mean, did not go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, hey, they also use that a lot on games where you're not supposed to go around killing each other, right? It's like the survival games. They use that a lot, right?
Yes.
And those long corridors, those are used for to build up the anticipatory anxiety. So when you do get there, and the monster enters the arena, it's just like, oh god! Like instead of just like, oh god, there he is. Yes, you've built up so much anxiety.
The other thing about that is that if you look at a lot of these first-person shooters in a lot of games, they will put you in so every single arena is not necessarily a combat arena. You'll have a lot of arenas which are there just to show you what they've designed to sort of give you an idea of tone or what's going on. They're not combat arenas. So they're more of like exposition arenas, or
Basically, significant something happens arena.
yeah, pretty much. And so what you'll see is you'll look around, and you'll think, wow, there's so many places I could go to and look around at. But realistically, there's only one path that leads to the next area, and eventually you find it. You think you're clever because you found it. You head
Easter
up
eggs.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Easter eggs.
Well, no, I mean it's like it's just the path forward. It's not even an Easter egg. It's like it's the path you're supposed to find, but when you're playing it for the very first time, you don't know that necessarily. So you think you're clever because you moved forward in the level. So, you know,
puzzle games.
yeah, exactly. Like my Legend of Grimrock playthrough. I played Legend of Grimrock before. I've beaten it. That's why I'm playing it on hard actually. Try and make it a little more difficult on myself. And yeah, I don't remember all the secrets. I know for certain that I left Turum behind, so I'm gonna go get his grave before I fight the final boss. But yeah, so if I want to, I can play it again with Turum.
Oh, nice.
He's a solo character essentially.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, not every. I like puzzle games. I like a lot of games as long as they have a challenge in them. As long as they have a challenge that is fair. Like with Dark Souls, you will blame the game initially, or you'll think you did something wrong. You want to understand, but once you learn the game's rules and the rules that it plays by, you come to the realization that it's always playing by its own rules. You're just making mistakes.
Yeah, you have to learn how to play the game.
Yeah.
Which you just lost.
Yeah, exactly. Man, does anybody even play that game anymore?
I'm sure people do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All the people that are flicking me off,
and they're all pissed right now.
Goddamn candlestick! I put you out.
Yeah, they're gonna find you. They're gonna douse you. They're just gonna be like, all right, you know what, candlestick? There you go. Now you are forever.
That's a bucket of water on me. Oh yeah, ice bucket challenge.
Like, hi flame, hi person made of plasma.
Yeah, basically. But hey, another important part of game design that I hear some YouTubers talk about, especially Markiplier.
Mm-hmm.
Name plug. Is the environment, like the background environment, or just the environment you're walking through. It's just not enough to have a corridor or an arena. Just how in depth it is, and really not even the environment that you're right next to or interacting with. It's that back environment, like way far out. Like
yeah, the skybox.
Yeah, which some games, it is nice to just be able to stop and take that in, and you always appreciate it when someone actually has taken the time to actually make this incredible environment. And if they don't, it's just like there's nothing interesting to see here. It kind of detracts from the game, don't you think?
A little bit, but usually not to an insane degree. More often than not, it's something that's supposed to be eye candy. And if you look at it in the 90s, like the late 90s, they have decent skyboxes, but it's obvious it's like a square or a sphere, and it's obvious that you're supposed to be focused on the game aspect. I think people have this infatuation with graphics right now, and don't get me wrong, that's perfectly fine. But a lot of
go overboard with your infatuation.
Yeah.
For game graphics, because then it will turn into cinematics in movies where they started using the 3D. And just became excessive to the point where we can recognize it and it's boring.
It's not exactly what I mean. What I mean is that if you focus too much as a consumer on graphics, then publishers start to release these really crappy games that have extremely hollow game design and gameplay. Yeah. We've seen a few of those, but the backlash was pretty vicious.
Severe, yeah.
So they learned their lessons a little bit, but believe me, they're going to try and cash in any way they can. This is just the nature of game design. It's the nature of business. If I was running a business and I said, "Hey, do you think I can release this piece of crap and people will buy it if it looks really good?" Oh, so give it a try. They bought it. Wow.
A businessman will say yes. A businessman will say this game looks incredible, so let's release it. And they won't even probably play it. Well, of
Yeah.
course they're not going to play it. They're going to let the testers play it, and then probably disregard after what they say.
No, they actually regard their testers.
Oh, really?
The
Oh,
in-house
that's good.
testers, because there's a lot more bugs than you see in a game.
Oh yeah.
But
In games like MMOs, there's new bugs.
oh yeah,
all the
there's new
time.
bugs every day. Like MMOs, part of the fun is finding the bugs. Part of the fun is exploring their environment.
Yay, bug!
Blizzard used to not penalize you for that. They used to say, "Oh, you found a way into this new area. Good job," because there would be like a construction sign, or there might be like goblin workers like working on something, building stuff, and you couldn't attack them, or they're critters or something. Like you'd always find little things that Blizzard said, "Oh, okay, well, we're not going to penalize you when we find you here. We're going to kick you out, but we're not
Your
going to ban
character's
you."
only been warped into like.
Yeah, they just like send you back to your Hearthstone location or something. But they weren't dicks about it usually.
Are they now?
I don't know. I haven't played World of Warcraft in forever because I got over that game and said I'm never coming back because I have better things to do, like write a book or start a YouTube channel or get good grades in college.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see. You said gameplay. What aspects of game? Now, what Hollow games? What games have you found that are severely lacking on like gameplay aspects?
Really, it boils down to games that are just so uninspired. You will find these everywhere you look. They're usually the games in the bargain bin at any major retailer because a first person shooter was sort of novel in, say, 1997, where you could get away with just being a first person shooter.
Yeah.
But if you release a game that is just an arena first person shooter with deathmatch only, or deathmatch and capture the flag, nowadays everybody's going to look at you like, what the hell is this? Are you serious? Or if you have a game that has. I think the worst are games that have mechanics that don't really fit the game. Like games where you can only say, let's say it's a game like Candy Crush or something. Let's say you're able to move blocks around. Okay, let's say if when you eliminate blocks, it moves everything like one direction instead of like it moves everything one direction or a couple of directions, whatever. But my point is that when you run into a game that has uninspired controls, has uninspired gameplay, everything just feels counterintuitive. Like that's usually because they didn't put any effort into researching how they didn't do any research into the conventions of the game that they made. If you make an MMO, inventory is I.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's a lot of stuff which, if you look at older games, is missing. But if you look at almost every single new game, it's there.
Yeah, now you're kind of getting into like the game user interface, which is like extremely important.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Like I just remember Angry Joe's rant about I forget which game, but it was I think it was like Dead Island. They had a really bad interface,
Dead
and
Island.
the fighting was like if you wanted to move forward, you had to put your weapon away and then move, and then pull it back out to fight. Probably not Dead Island.
That was probably Resident Evil 5.
Might have been. And he said that that would be fine if this were not a game where you're expected to kill everything
Yeah.
and fight constantly. And that would be actually it would add to the difficulty and add to the suspense and add to just the environment if this was if it was designed just make it more difficult and discourage you from fighting and killing everything. Just as well would be limiting how much ammo you could find, your save point, so you are less willing to take risk at killing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was, if this was to be a fighting game, you don't want to have to put your weapon away, move, and then because you're constantly being assailed by things on all sides, you need to move around, be able to react quickly. You can't do this and then take it time to aim, especially if you're using a console, which is just so yeah. And then just like the interface itself was like really hard to use. Like it was scrambled basically. The interface come down and things were in weird places within the interface. So yeah, that's important.
So my favorite is whenever you run into a game that basically has important things that you're going to want to look at, like a lot, hidden behind like two or three steps of the menu. Like those are the worst.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're going to need to look at the map a lot, it should be one button to bring up the map. I mean,
Not a key combo.
yeah, not like the menu, then left three times, and then down two and press X. No, it should be if they know you're going to be looking at the map a lot, put that on the menu. I mean, if you want to have it to where you have a menu of multiple things, have it to where it starts on the map, so they can just hit menu X or menu circle, whatever. X if you're in America, circle if you're in Japan, and just don't have to worry about it. It's right there. If people don't have to navigate a menu, they won't really care that they have to press two buttons. If they have to navigate the menu to get to where they want to go, and they have to go through like two or three different menus, oh yeah, they're gonna be mad. Like they're gonna not like it. It was actually, oh, what was it called? It wasn't Torchlight.
We'll be back in just a second.
No. It was something. It was a game that I think Peter Molyneux or whatever worked on, and basically he'd always make these harebrained promises about what would be in his games, and then not be able to deliver on any of them. I forget what it is. Like somebody out there is probably screaming it at the monitor right now, like it's this one, you idiots. But yeah,
Exactly like that. It's distorted Sparta face.
yeah.
You know it is.
But you know, it was just and it was bad because it was to trade anything is what he was mad about. To trade, okay, in this game I forget the name. To trade anything or to equip any item, you had to press start, which would pause your game and take you into an interactive inventory where you would go and basically, if you had a lot of items, it was completely random which ones would be held by these little statues holding all your items. And so you'd have to run up, you'd have to maybe go into your inventory multiple times, which was a loading screen each time to get in and out. You would have to do this maybe a couple of times just to find the item you want to trade to somebody, and then you have to basically select it, drop it on the ground, then they would have to pick it up, and then they would need to go into their inventory again to make sure that they got it.
Wow. That's a lot of back and forth that you just don't need.
It's a lot of back and forth that could have just been a menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's nice and fancy, and you think, wow, this is really avant-garde and cool until you've done it like 30 times.
I think by the third time it would become rather banal and mundane. It's just like, okay, I spend just as much time trading one item as I do killing monsters. This is ridiculous.
I spend more time waiting for the freaking loading screen to come up so I can use a damn healing potion while fighting monsters than I do anything else. I mean, it was ludicrous.
Yeah, I have played games where there's a loading screen for something. It's just like, why is this a loading screen? Like this, there's absolutely no reason for this. Oh wait, no, it's kind of when I've been applying to or when I've been working on certain websites. I click a button or radial, and then the entire screen has to reload. And it's like, why can't this just light up? Like there's no reason for us to have to reload completely.
Is there a loading screen for the loading screen? Those are my favorites, by the way. When there's a loading screen that's really long, and then there's a cutscene, there's a loading screen that's really long. It's just like, you gotta be kidding me with this shit.
And then you see like the old EverQuest loading jokes.
Yeah.
Like loading bar squared. The loading bar for a loading bar.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so yeah, when it comes to game design, it needs to feel visceral. It needs to feel, well, depending on what you're trying to portray. I like games that are visceral and make you feel like you're in the moment. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like regret those words when the Oculus comes out, when it's out in like full 1080p or full resolution glory. Then I play it and shit in my pants. Like, all right, guys, it's time to play Amnesia. Ah! I hurt myself like Felix. Yeah, nah, I'm probably not gonna do that. But
Where's my wall?
where's my oh? I'll put spikes on the wall just so I can injure myself by accident and people laugh at it. It's like that one episode of that one anime where it's like the woman's got a knife, puts it on the wall, it's like, whatever.
And the poor person looking at her is just traumatized.
No, they start laughing because they're evil.
Oh.
I think, I don't know. But, that's just our ideas on game design. So the next thing we're going to go to the next topic is our favorite genres.
Pokemon! So that was my favorite genre.
Is Pokemon a genre?
Well, I guess not. It's like a title.
The Pocket Monsters genre, I guess?
Maybe. Well, I think there probably is a genre where you are in control of many little creatures that you can acquire. So I remember there was like this Jade something for Sega.
So whatever genre Pokemon is part of, where you collect monsters, train them, and then fight with them.
That was always fun.
I mean,
Monster Rancher. Pokemon was like the best. I think like Digimon was one of those too.
Yeah, Digimon was to an extent.
But yeah, Pokemon was always my go-to game. Also fantasy. Well, fantasy. EverQuest, just those relatively open environments. I like those. Just I like to have a goal. Like even if it's like a distant goal where you're just trying to get to this point, and there's a lot of small, intermediate, and short-term goals to get to and achieve. Keeps it interesting. Like EverQuest was kind of like the same way. Like you were just trying to get through the game was like a long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
And get to the next level was the started short-term goal, then became intermediate, and then became long-term. I started around the hell levels.
Oh yeah. If you guys don't know what the hell levels are in EverQuest, yes. I'll let him do it.
And basically, from what I understand, the hell levels were levels where the amount of experience required to get out of that level, to get to the next level, was just insane. And it was just a whole lot more than either levels, any of the levels that came behind it, and any of the levels that came after it.
So what do you?
Is that true?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. So what he means is in EverQuest 1, getting from level 1 to say 29, it took a while, but it wasn't impossible. The thing is, the experience, it went up based on an algorithm that sort of looked like an exponential curve, but wasn't quite that bad. The hell levels were level 30 and up because the monster experience, it didn't go up exponentially. It didn't follow the same curve as the experience you needed to level up, meaning that you would have to spend markedly more time killing monsters and completing quests to get to the next level. And if you died, you lost experience in EverQuest. It wasn't a debt. It wasn't a penalty. It was you just flat out lost it. It was like a fourth of your level's experience.
And you could even drop a level.
Yeah, you could de-level. So for some people, that would be like a week's worth of gameplay.
Yeah.
Or a month's worth of gameplay to get to the next level or regain that experience. So, yeah, the hell levels. They started at level 30. They lasted the rest of the game. So,
not fun.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal if you were playing the game with friends to have fun, but if you wanted to get the max level so you could play with your friends who were all max level, it took forever.
If you were one of those people that decided they were going to grind out the new character all the way up to max level, like Diablo 3, they released a Crusader. If you're one of those people that want to try to get the Crusader to like the highest level, complete the game in like 3-4 times within 2 days or 3 days, or something like that.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. But if it was like EverQuest, I come up with a new race like the Beast Lord, and you try to get that sucker all the way up. As soon as you have those hell levels, your pace is done. Like, you just need to make room for it. And if you die once, it's like, don't. It's like 4 hours, 5 hours worth of game gone.
Of course, the other thing about EverQuest is that your main purpose was you should never be grinding at EverQuest to gain levels, ever. Not EverQuest 1. Like, your main objective in that game was to complete quests. Hence, EverQuest. Every class had a huge chest line. Every class had a huge quest line that was called Epic Quests, and those started at, I think, level 40. and then there was a new epic quest every I think like 5 or 10 levels that you could do. They were a great experience, and the emphasis should have been on story, being with friends, and doing cool stuff. Honestly, because you went all over the planet
It's a
and
special.
beyond. You went to different planets, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. If you had friends to play with you, then you would have a ton of fun on EverQuest. If you wanted to live as your character in that universe, you could do it because that's what the purpose was. If you just wanted to grind out levels, no, go play like Terra or some other free MMO.
Of course, there are people in EverQuest that would disagree with you because there are a number of grinding guilds and,
Oh, yeah.
and grind guides up online.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. That's the mentality shifted to that.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. Like they can grind it all the way through EverQuest if they want to.
But it's probably not going to be as effective as quite well. Actually,
If
I've met people. I think they might have shifted the game towards grinding a little more because.
Well, if you have a full party, you can do it because you can take on mobs you shouldn't be able to take on and get bonus experience.
Well, I think what they did is they actually get a character all the way up, and then they use that character to buy extremely uber gear for new characters, and they can grind effectively with those new characters because they have a sword or a weapon rather that you're not supposed to get until you're like level 45, and they're using it like level 1.
Of course, here's the problem with that.
One shot. You get no skills at all because
Yeah.
you do need to skill up. So your offense, defense, your whatever type of attack you're using, that all needs to skill up or your stats are going to be cracked.
So for those of you who are uninformed, with EverQuest and its sort of derivatives, every weapon type had a skill attached to it. So one-handed slashing,
Two-hand slashing,
one-handed blunt, two-handed slashing.
Yeah.
Yeah, dodge, armor, defense. Like all these things had a skill attached to them. And how you got your armor and defense up was you just let somebody beat on you for a while. The only problem here is that they had to be a monster that would give you experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the more experience they would give you, the faster you would skill up.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I had like 3 yellows beating on me and my defense went up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how did I survive this? And well, my defense went up.
Yeah.
So did my offense.
And so that's if you power leveled and you're one-shotting things, eventually you're going to get to where mobs that are light blue, so supposed to be really easy for you, or lower in level or whatever, they're going to start killing you because, or you're not going to be able to hurt them or taunt them because your attack bonus, because your skill is so low, will be terrible. And you're not going to be able to hit them, but they're going to be able to hit you because your defenses are terrible. But if you go up against the monster that is, say, yellow, so difficult, challenging, it's going to kill you because you'll get skills out of it. But again, if you die, you lose experience in EverQuest. So it penalized you for being a bad player, and it rewarded you for being a good player. And granted, a lot of players would would level up a couple of times, and then just have a healer. You healed them as a monster beat on them to get their defenses up. And use a weapon that did no damage just to skill up on beating on, yellows or reds. Really hard to hurt, or, not quite as challenging as impossible.
I just hope that your cleric hasn't been spamming, like, smite constantly, trying to power through. And so when it comes to divination, it's just like, fizzle.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, kill me, I'm trying. And he didn't get one heal off, so it's like the yellows all just leave. He's like, okay, I'm safe.
For those of you who also don't know, who are uninformed, in EverQuest, you actually had to level up your magic, and there was a chance, even at max rank for your level in magic, that your spell could fizzle. So it tried to implement the idea that you are a wizard or a cleric or whatever spellcaster.
Fallible spellcaster.
Yeah, who's fallible. Like, you can fail. You can make mistakes. So, yeah, EverQuest was a really good game. I kind of like to try and get my old D&D friends to play EverQuest with me, because then EverQuest feels almost like D&D and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, our favorite genres. So, are those your two favorites?
I would say so. I've never really embarked too much into puzzle games. Like, I tried playing some Solid Snake games, and I have to admit, they are not the type of game that I really know how to play. So I've gotten into Sudoku. I don't know if that really counts right now.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Sort of a game.
I've also kind of started looking into different kind of video games. But as for my favorite genres, it would be like Pokemon and collect monsters and send them out into Warfire. And let me see, what's the other one? Adventure games. We have a goal, a series of goals. So that's mine.
Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all. I don't know why I took that hat on. Invisible top hat off.
I never actually played Pokemon. I never found the idea, mostly because like we're related. He's my older brother, and for those of you who don't know, if you're an only child or you're the oldest, you don't understand this. But brothers don't like the middle child likes his things, and then everybody like around him, all the other brothers usually say, "I'm not gonna like that because he likes that." And so you're like,
He was a Digimon fan.
No, not
Throw your
not really.
potatoes at him.
No, not really.
Which is
And so he liked Pokemon, so I refused to like Pokemon. He liked some of the games I played there, like Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. But I was always like first-person shooters. I liked real-time strategies for a while. I don't like card games really at all.
I did.
He likes card games. I don't. I like adventure games. I like exploring, even when the game isn't adventure. Like that's the thing I always did in World of Warcraft. I hit max level and I just went and tried to find ways to get into cool places. And then I did, and I told people about them. They're like, "No way, we can't get there." Oh shit, we can. And so then when we went around just finding cool stuff, never any enemies back there because there wasn't intended for players to get there. But it was always cool and fun. I kind of like some strategy games. I don't like turn-based grand strategy games. I do like games like Civilization. They're not quite the same.
So real-time strategy you like, but turn-based strategy you don't.
Yeah, because it gets boring.
But now isn't D&D basically turn-based strategy?
It's not supposed to be, but that's the trend that it heads towards.
But of course, at the same time, you're not just sitting there with a mute computer. You're sitting around there with friends going, "I think I'm gonna do this," and then the one that's just like, "Your character's gonna die," and all stuff like this, and then he's gonna put his top hat on. I like that one.
Well, I'm also not, running like 500 units in D&D.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It gets really exhausting if it's like, all right, in this battle, I'm controlling 500 individual units.
No, that's true.
I need to assign orders to all 500 of them. Well, they just sit there and do nothing. It's like, okay, if I have like 5 hours to assign all these friggin' orders, then great, I probably will. But to me, that isn't fun. It's boring, and so I go do something else.
I guess if you had like a turn-based strategy game, but the computer was the supercomputer from Portals. This is sarcastic, but oh god, you're taking forever to play this. Are you smart enough for this?
It's just like, oh my, you are taking forever to play this. I finished my turn in 50 milliseconds, and you're taking like 5 minutes. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I don't know how GLaDOS turned into Peter Griffin, but whatever. But yeah, I was always a fan of first-person shooters. Anything that's visceral, anything that's in your face right now. Come on, let's go explore this dank, dark place with a shotgun and a flashlight. It's like, yeah, let's do this. I always liked scary games like
Leroy!
Oh yeah, dude, it was like the best thing ever. And Doom 3 was the shotgun. It's like huge Hell Knight throws plasma at you. Run up, stick your gun right in front of his face, pull the trigger, and then run back as he takes a swing at you, and just rinse and repeat until he dies. It was just great. That's how you beat almost everything in that game. You just run up, juke him out, shoot him in the face, and then just repeat until they die. No, those are always fun. Yeah, so I like tabletop role playing games mostly because I get to like do a lot of writing. I make up characters. I mean, I had this one idea for a character that's essentially a character that turns into a fox, stays as a fox forever, and lets its familiar do all the talking for it, and then vomits lightning at people. And it's mechanically possible in Pathfinder.
This is true.
Yeah. So, whichever. I like games like Legend of Grimrock, obviously, because I'm playing Legend of Grimrock. He does too. He's like, hey man, I want to play that too. I'm just like, I'm playing it right now, damn it.
I'll probably have a little bit more editing, so it might be a little more comedic, but it'll also probably take twice as long because I'll probably die a lot. And I'll try not to edit those parts out. I'd be like, no, goddamn it.
Yeah. Dying in Legend of Grimrock basically boils down to, oh no, something got behind me. Because it can take a while to kill things. So you're just like, shit, 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 and then somebody dies, and you're just like, fuck. And so you reload. Or everybody dies, and it's like, game over.
No reloads, I guess. Have you completely died in that game while recording? I stopped watching something.
Yes, technically. Usually when people start dying, I just reload. Unless I just load a quick save or something. Because it's like, well, I want everybody to be around the same level, sort of. And if people start dying in mass, then I'm going to have problems with that. Like, one person will be a lot higher than the other one. So, let's see.
Or when you, like, walk up to a wall, I wonder if I can damage this wall with lightning.
Ow.
Nope.
It's just like, all right, I wonder if I can do this. Quick save. Lightning spell at a wall. Hurt myself. Okay, quick load. Good to know. That's what quick loads are for, if you guys don't know. A lot of console gamers don't really understand the concept of quick loads in a lot of ways because they aren't introduced to them. But, yeah, I mean, Legend of Grimrock is a great game. I'm going to do the second one sooner or later. Probably, do some other things. Try to get some more multiplayer madnesses going. I did have some Killing Floor 2 for a while up there. And then I realized that Killing Floor 2 music is copyrighted. So I now have to take all the music out of Killing Floor 2.
At home, join in.
Yeah. And, it's just, okay, all the footage that I did have, I'm just going to, get rid of. And then play the game without music, me and some friends joking around or joking around random people on voice chat. But, for the most part, it's just trying to have fun. One of my favorite genres of all time is dark fantasy because it's like a no-holds-barred introduction to anything can happen. But, I'm not going to go into that. It's not really a gaming genre. It's just a genre in general. But I will say this. Writing in video games is usually absolutely terrible. Like, Baldur's Gate era was fantastic. EA these days...
Is it like basically script writing where it's all dialogue? And maybe a little bit of the scene setting, but for the most part, it's just nothing but dialogue.
EA storylines feel like they just had the animators write the story.
Well, let's see.
One of my colleagues,
a stapler that jumps on paper and bites it through itself, and the headphones are like what? And they stop the mouse that touches the keyboard, which knocks over the monitor, which wakes up the gamer, and then everything resets, and you're like, what?
So one of my colleagues, he said he offered the idea that it felt like the animators were writing the story in one of the Call of Duty games, I think it was. He's probably watching this right now and like, oh shit, you talking about? But
thanks, everyone at the time.
But thanks, Jingle Jackson. But he's he was always an interesting guy, lots of fun to be around. But his idea was that one of the Call of Duty games, in every single scene, your characters essentially had to die at the end. But how they would die would be you get to the end of the level, which was usually this really cool event. You get to the end of the level, and then something stupid happens and you die. Like some dude is just hiding exactly where you're gonna stop, jumps out of the brush, stabs your friend in the chest or something, and then shoots you in the head. And your character's like, oh, and it all happens in a cutscene. So it's just like, what? Who the hell would write this?
And then it's also, or something like that where it happens in a cutscene because they already know that if they try to do that, you, the gamer, are going to maneuver yourself and kill the assailant. But if they do it in a cutscene, they have complete control just to say, "This happens because I want it to happen."
Yep, pretty much.
And
Cutscene
because
deaths.
I'm the writer.
It's just that whole thing. Like, if you look at a game and the mechanics are just so geared towards making the player a god, it'll become you. If you're gonna kill the player, you have to kill the player in a cutscene, because the second time they play through something, they're gonna do everything in their power to stop their own deaths from happening.
They might as well just let you play against against an NPC that basically been brought up to the god standard that you're at, and so basically
The only way to make that happen is to give the NPC infinite health, because your players will find a way to get away from it and hurt it in some way. Like Penumbra, Black Plague, the whatever they're supposed to be, the monsters. You're not supposed to be able to kill them, but they have hit points. If you pick up a rock and you throw it at them enough times, you will actually kill them. They
Really?
actually fall down enough times that eventually they'll just fall down and ragdoll. And so when people realize this, they just went around and threw rocks at all these guys until they all died, and then just walked around the level and completed it. Because you only needed one rock, unless you missed.
then what would happen? The rock would explode.
You just go get a different rock, or a different box, or crate, or something.
or chair.
Yeah, and beat them to death with that. So
Get away! Get away! Get away!
it makes perfect sense. Like, why wouldn't you?
Chairs should actually do 4 times as much damage because they have four times as many impact points. 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg, 4.
So you're saying you throw a chair at somebody, it goes, go, 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 go.
No, it goes, dum, 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 and then falls off. And the monster's like, oh.
So you throw a chair at somebody, and it's just like, all right, I'm gonna throw the chair. You know, it's just like, what? You gotta be kidding me. That would be hilarious, though. Like,
Hacks.
if you throw a chair and it hits somebody 4 times, you're pro.
2 pro.
You're like Sherlock in that one movie. He's like, all right, if I throw it like this, and this happens, this all happens, and then like the stars align, and this other thing happens, and he like throws the chair at such an angle where it like hits with one leg, hits the other one, hits with the other one, hits the other one, spins around, and then just resets indefinitely.
What?
He's like, I'm Sherlock Holmes. I can make the impossible happen.
You ever heard of reducing kinetic energy?
It's a video game.
Right. Ragdoll physics, where there is no. Never mind. These physics are whack.
So yeah, good stuff. I think that's gonna be about it for us today.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
we've kind of talked about enough. And really, that's like the only topics that we really came up with so
Yeah.
far.
So yeah, in the future with my channel, I'll start doing vlogs and then linking them to the blog that I have, and I'll try to get like at least 100 or 200 videos up, and then start on the written blog, do a lot more vlogs, whatever you want to call them.
Vlog,
Yeah, and yeah, should have a lot of cool stuff for you guys to look at and watch. Laugh at me failing horribly. Laugh at him playing Terra and not knowing how to heal. All kinds of cool stuff.
How do I heal?
How do I heal? What is this button? How do I target you? Press buttons.
Press buttons is how it works.
Yeah.
Read what comes up on the screen. Continue. No. Okay. Oh, I figured it out.
It's like the simplest thing ever. So yeah, we're probably gonna call it here. So, bye.
See ya.